Yo, what is going on, people? 1v1 Arabia Daut v Tim. Feels like we're throwing this back like 4 or 5 years ago. Daut v Tim on Arabia. It's 2017, though. And we shall see how this one goes. Brits v Brits. Should be an interesting game. Daut coming in here around 2K. He's been fluctuating a little bit, getting back into top shape, I think. Tim, as usual, around 2.2. Yeah, Daut's at 2.1 right now. Playing quite well, I would say, but certainly has not reached his ceiling. Tim on the other side, just a constant stalwart. He's a guy who's been here forever. Anyway, Brits v Brits on Arabia. We're going to see 5 vills on sheep for Daut early on. He'll send the 6th over to wood. You get that sheep gathering bonus, so some players will use just 5 villagers. Tim usually, for now, he will be using 6 vills, so we'll see. Not uncommon at all to see 6 fills as well. Get a little bit faster of a food boost early on in the game. Okay, what are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at Daut's map, and it's looking pretty defensible. Blue player here has got a big open area on this side. Maybe he can build a couple ranges on top of this hill or something to protect that area. But other than that, it's pretty darn wallable, especially the front here. Look at all of the structure he has to work with. His wood line on the front is okay. It's not great. It's going to be a little bit tricky for him to defend. But all in all, I like this map. Pretty defensible. Lots of resources that can be put within walls or within striking distance of a defensive army. Okay, Tim's going to be in the red on the other side. He's going to have back stone, back gold. Decent wood line here to the side, but not very thick. We're going to see archers in a Britain's War very commonly. So, you know, having a wood line like this means you're going to get raided from the other side. This other wood line Tim has on the back is decent as well, but it's also not very thick. So look for him to maybe drop a TC on a wood line relatively early in this game. Interestingly, Tim's TC is cratered really across the entire front, so he's got basically an uphill fight if he's on the bottom of these hills. That kind of means he needs to get his ranges on top of these hills if he can. His first house will be out there on top of the hill, and maybe we'll see him just wall off across that side. Nonetheless, back resources for Tim should be really productive for him if he wants to play a little bit defensively, or if he kind of falls behind in archer production versus his opponent. But I guess we'll see as this game goes forward. We'll go ahead and speed this up. We'll look at the scouting, check things out. Villager taking a couple of hits from the boar on the way home, but he's going to be fine. Tim is scouting forward really early. He's got 4 villagers on wood here from the early part of the game, so he can drush if he wants to. He's going to go ahead and find Daut's berries. He's going to find the secondary gold rather. He'll dodge a burst of arrows, but I'm sure he'll continue to work his way around and get an idea of what's going on. If this wasn't a more friendly match, he could try to block this boar if he finds it, but I don't think he'll do that. Always have the opportunity to lame your opponent. Actually, Daut's going to send his scout out here kind of preemptively just to make sure that Tim isn't going to bump into this vill or try to steal a boar or anything silly like that. Okay, so far Tim is the aggressor in the scouting department. Daut has not scouted forward at all. But he's had 4 vills on wood for some time. He hasn't clicked up to loom just yet. And maybe we'll see him drop a barracks here. He's got quite a bit of wood in the bank, so keep an eye on that. Interesting thing to point out at this point in the match is that Tim grabbed loom. I think he grabbed it to lure this very boar in, which is interesting. That's a rather early loom. You got to do it sometimes to get your boar in, but that will put Tim a little bit behind on resources. He's going to have 1 less villager working for a couple of minutes of game time. Anyway, that barracks is coming up. Daut has not taken the extra 10 gold here, but I do think this is going to be a traditional drush. I don't know why I think that, but if he does drush, it's going to do a really nice job to maybe give him time to wall off his side. I mean, Daut here could really wall his entire side off, at least this top flank, before his drush gets cleaned up. So I think a successful drush in this case just means buying yourself some time to wall in. But we'll see. Daut just now starting to scout forward. He's going to find Tim's wood line, circle around the TC, find these extra resources, I would assume. The berries here on the front, being on a downhill slope, is probably going to be the best place to hit. This wood line is a decent place to hit, but because it's going to be doubled up with so many villagers, it's hard to envision a drush actually doing a lot of damage there. Looks like Excuse me. Looks like Tim will preemptively wall this, drop a couple palisades in a house, and that will sort of stop Daut's Drush from doing too much. Tim scouted out that barracks. Scouting obviously incredibly important in AOC. In this case, particularly so. Tim's going to be very, very ready for this Drush, at least one would think. Scout fighting on the front seems to be, well, actually hasn't started yet, but a little bit of scout flirtation, chasing each other around. Tim on the way to feudal here. He's going to power build a barracks so that he gets it done in time. And then I would expect him to drop in archery range, but he isn't on gold right now. So archer production is going to be pretty minimal for the time being. All right, let's slow this down a bit. Daut's Drush coming in. Tim's going to see it right away and retreat from these berries, which is a really good idea. He just really can't take a fight with that Drush. The Drush is going to come in from the top side. Tim's going to retreat here as well. No, he's not. Tim's going to get into the fray here and take this fight hand to hand. Oh, God, this is really bad for him. That villager kind of getting trapped. She had the hill advantage, but she got separated from her peers, and one villager going down really, really early. Tim will lose his scout, or rather Daut will lose his scout, but Tim will lose a villager. That is a really big deal. Spearman out early for Tim to try to, I don't know, help in this melee. That's unfortunate and a little, it's kind of unfortunate. It will buy him some time, but it is a little bit of a waste of resources. This spear can't really do a whole lot to a militia. Villagers heading back to the berries, but Daut already with an incredibly successful Drush. The first archer just now coming out for Tim. So he should be able to push this back relatively quickly. An archer and a skirmisher or something of that nature would be plenty to deal with those militia. Tim will send 6 villagers over to gold, indicative of double range archers. Daut is heading over to gold with 6 villagers as well. Daut will just be hitting feudal age in a moment. He's got 3 villagers coming out here on the front, and I would think they're going to drop archery ranges in just a second. Oh boy. We turned away to look at that for a moment, and we see a spearman go down. We see the scout go down from Tim, and finally Daut's last militia. Okay, so that's about as good of a Drush as you can expect. Daut grabbing a villager, keeping his opponent busy, causing a lot of idle time, killing a couple of units. Can't complain about that. And like we said, if he had time just to wall in before his Drush died, he'd be really, really safe and happy. And it looks like he's going to be relatively walled in by the time Tim gets to him. Daut for now is continuing to build up along this ridge line. He'll slowly but surely block that in. The back corner isn't blocked, but it's going to be soon. This villager's headed over there with that builder's look in her eye. Double ranges on the front here are going to make it awkward for Tim to run through either of these corridors because Daut can pop out of these ranges and get the jump on him. But for the moment, we will see Tim with a 6 military units, a 4 or 5 military advantage, coming forward with archers right now to maybe get in here in time. Daut not really quick walling here. He's building the entire palisade before moving on to the next one, and that's going to leave Tim enough time to get in if he wants to. However, Daut will have a couple of +1 damage skirms out already. Daut is already on it. He goes blacksmith a little earlier than his opponent, a lot earlier. Daut waited a little bit longer in the Dark Age. He had more resources as he hit feudal, and he immediately drops double ranges and a blacksmith and gets +1. He's going to push his opponent back for now with skirms. Tim here with an advantage military-wise, but the skirmisher should equalize that. Interestingly, Tim is going to be dropping, or trying to drop, a cheeky tower here. This wood line is not the greatest place for Daut. It's not very thick. Tim will try to take advantage of that with a tower. It looks like this tower could go up. Just not enough units right now for Daut. He's circling more units around the other side. 75% built at this point. Oh boy, this is not going well for Tim all of a sudden. Tim's villager is not going to be able to build. There's too many skirms here for him to focus. He shouldn't die to this. He just has to retreat. Tim is going to continue to try to go back and build that tower because he's committed to it. But it's going to kill a villager? Nah, that villager's going to be running off on 1 HP. Oh man, Tim losing a villager on the front. Daut dropping a tower in defense, and you can see 74% built there for Tim. Even though he deletes it, he doesn't have the stone for another tower. So a really unfortunate engagement there for Tim. I shouldn't say unfortunate for Tim, I should say well defended by Daut. not only building his own tower in defense to protect his wood line, but coming from both sides to stop that villager from building. Daut's little corridor here has lured Tim in. He's not going to be able to close the trap for now, but he is going to deter the red player from doing a whole lot of damage. Tim's grabbing padded archer armor as we speak. That will give him a slight advantage in the defense department on his archers, but there's too many skirms here from Daut. I think that Tim is on the run, baby. I don't think he's going to turn around and take a fight. There's too many units there. In the meantime, we'll see Daut palisading in most of his side. It looks like he's actually going to be fully walled in very shortly. This front wood line is no longer as much of a liability because of that forward tower, or that defensive tower, rather. Gold pile safe here in the corner for now, and looks like Daut is probably going to get to the castle age in a really safe position. He's not going to get there right away, I wouldn't think. Not a whole lot of food in the bank. But it's hard to imagine a feudal army from Tim coming in here and harassing this eco too much. This wood line, though, is rather thin, so that is a possibility. If Tim could get some archers in on that wood line, he could grab a few vills. Anyway, for now, the red player Tim, +1/+1, archers and skirms hanging out on top of the hill. We talked about his cratered TC here. For now, he's having to play a little defensively. He's going to mass up a little bit and wait for the army of Daut. Tim is ahead by 3 military, but he's behind by 3 villagers. Probably the second stat is more important, villager count right now. One of those villagers is due to a wheelbarrow difference, but a 2-vill advantage for Daut right now. His army is mostly skirms here, so he is going to kite around this and throw a couple lobs of javelins in, take out a couple archers from Tim. But Tim's now seen this group, and I think he's confident to chase that group down for a while. Interesting. Tim is going to start dropping a little structure here to the east of his base. I think he could create a pocket here and then build a TC or another lumber camp if he wants. This wood line is so exposed that if Tim can block this whole side in, it will actually safen, is that a word? It will increase the safety of his wood eco by quite a lot. All right, looks like Daut will go ahead and juke around Tim's army. That's going to give Tim an opportunity to go forward to a relatively unguarded base of the blue player. Daut's going to come right into this pocket, and this villager is not doomed. These units are not going to head there at random, so that villager will be hidden in the fog of war for now. But Tim will maybe lose a villager on this wood line. Maybe not. Daut will put a little pressure on, but a lot of skirmishers there not able to put down the damage to kill that vill. Looks like Tim for now will poke his way through this palisade. Daut's going to be ready with a small number of archers. Still no defensive upgrade for Daut. Nice quick walling toward the TC. The tower over here as well is going to create an annoying place for Tim to try to push in. Tim is not going to be able to push in here. Looks like he will head back out for now and maybe come over to this very wood line that we were thinking he might attack. Daut has started to retreat, Castle Age on the way. Maybe he's thinking about just getting these units back home to protect himself while he goes up. But we'll see the blue player get up first. Tim on the other side has clicked up just as we speak. He will be, 30 seconds behind Daut? So not a major difference. Padded archer armor coming for Daut here at the very end of the feudal age. But he's going to be fine. Daut at the moment is going to be a couple villagers ahead. It looks like 1, but it's actually 2 because of the Castle Age upgrade. He's going to be 2 military behind, but probably most importantly, the blue player here is totally walled in, has a ton of territory to drop TCs. Tim on the other side has built a nice pocket here. I don't know what his plan is, though. He can't get villagers in or out of that pocket. It's going to make this wood line very safe, but it's not looking like he's going to TC this area anytime terribly soon. I don't think he can get a TC up on this hill. I don't think there's enough space. So we'll keep an eye on Tim, who's on 237 stone. Not a whole lot of wood in the bank at the moment, but quite a bit of food. I'm not exactly sure what Tim's build is here. He's floating quite a lot more food than I thought he would, and his wood eco is really hurting. Okay, Castle Age comes in for Daut. Crossbowman is got to be on the way. We'll have to see Bodkin Arrow and Bowsaw as we always do. Yep, we will. Okay, thanks Daut for not making me look too crazy. So Daut's going to be coming forward with a massive tech advantage. Tim will have the hill right now. Military numbers are dead equal. So we'll see if this engagement goes down. Daut can definitely take this uphill with the increased tech. He's got more HP on his crossbows. He's got more range. He's got more damage because he's got the upgrades in already. However, Tim gets up to crossbowmen as well, and Daut will retreat. At the end of the day, military numbers were equal going in, and they're just about equal coming out of that fight. Still a 2-vil advantage for Daut. I would think back at home he's dropping a TC. Yeah, he's already dropped a TC back home and a university, and ballistics on the way. Daut here with a really nice build. He's using his advantage over Tim economically to basically just play like a conservative, intelligent game. He's dropping a second TC. That's going to give him a villager advantage. Getting a university in ballistics, that will give him a military advantage. And, just kind of biding his time. He's not winning this game with a sheer force of military numbers. He seems to be winning it with trying to get a tech advantage and an eco advantage. Militaries are dead equal right now. I heard Tim drop a siege workshop. He did. I think he'll pump a mangonel out here in defense, and that should allow him to send an army forward. He can't play defensively all game. Tim also grabbing ballistics, but for now is going to be on a 1TC build. Tim's on 1TC. The mangonel is not on the way yet, but it's going to be here soon enough. Oh, Tim's going to push out before the mangonel comes. Tim will push out and head toward Daut and try to do a little bit of damage. At the moment, +2/+2 for Daut's crossbows, +2/+2 for Tim's. Mangonel on the way. There you go. So the red player will defend with a mangonel. His base is quite safe. Daut here for the moment is not willing to go in, but he's going to be able to walk up to the edge of this area and put pressure on. In the meantime, a second army from Daut is roaming around, but he's going to maybe turn that around now that he's seen Tim's army on the front. That tower is still paying dividends for Daut, who's going to lob in a couple of volleys of arrow fire and kill a crossbowman or two, maybe even more. Looks like 3 crossbowmen down, 4 crossbowmen down. Lots of damage coming in from that tower. Tim here doesn't have a lot of options. He either has to run by the TC or retreat, and it looks like he'll run past the TC. He will lose 1-2 more crossbows in the process. He's going to work his way to the north, and unfortunately, he's going to find that Daut has TC'd the northern part there. Daut has created a labyrinth here that Tim really can't roam around behind. Tim cannot walk through the back of this eco very easily and just snipe fills. Daut has turned around some of his crossbows. He doesn't have quite as many as Tim by my approximation, but Tim probably knows that this mangonel is on the way. He's going to run in. He's going to grab 3 more vills for now, but this army is going to get crushed up against the rocks for sure. Tim has to either push out of this palisade or turn and fight. He's got a slight hill advantage. He's going to walk up to the top of this hill, I think. Tim will hang out on the hill and try to get as much damage in as he can, but Daut's going to just wait for him. He's going to bring his mangonel forward. The big shot comes in. Not the biggest mangonel shot you'll ever see, but a pretty good glancing blow with that first shot. The second shot is dead on. The crossbows from the red player are dead. In the meantime, Daut dropping another TC on the front, further shoring up the defenses of his eco. Tim right now trying to raid with crossbows, but they're just so slow, and he's not able to sneak up on Daut and do anything too much in the damage department. Blue player's got 2 groups of crossbows, one inside his base, one outside his base. Both of those are coming back to try to pincer Tim's army. At the moment, it is a 14 military advantage for Daut. Daut. 10 villagers ahead. He's got a, how much is the advantage? 14, 15 military approximately advantage. Tim on his side has dropped a second TC on top of the hill. He still hasn't done anything with this pocket. I'm a little surprised by that. But for now, he will have 2 TCs. What's going on here to the north? 3rd TC coming for Tim. That will be nice and hidden in the fog of war. Daut hasn't scouted that area at all. Okay, in the meantime, we've got crossbow on crossbow crime on the other side. Looks like for now, we will see Tim cling to the hill, Daut taking an uphill fight. Militaries are getting really close in size. Oh, God. That's why they're getting so close so quickly. Tim with a couple big mangonel shots on the front. He's going to lose a mango in the process, but he's got 1 alive. Let's see how this trade goes down. Looks like Daut there will defend pretty nicely. taking down 2 mangonels, keeping his own mango alive. He did lose a pretty good group of crossbows here. Looks like 7 corpses there to me. But in the end, for now, Daut seems to still be relatively safe. A couple of crossbows here on his wood line harassing him, but the blue player will respond with a couple of skirmishers. So far, so good. This game has been pretty interesting. Tim not really able to get any major damage in on Daut so far, but he's still alive, and he's still potentially going to be able to win this game in the Imperial Age. Castle coming for Daut as we speak on that front corner. That will block this entire area from raiding in the future. Maybe, yeah, I think it's a pretty good castle. Might have been nice to get a hill, but he just can't afford to get that risky. Mangonel shot raining in uphill on these crossbows. Seem to hit them pretty square, but in the end, Tim will get a mango there for pretty cheap. Castle comes up for Daut, and he's going to hold this area for now. Oh boy, what's going on up here? Alright, in this corner, the red player taking on 2 wolves. Looks like that crossbowman is going to survive on 4 HP. Going ham on 2 different wolves at the same time. Don't eat that wolf meat, you'll get trichinosis for sure. Another siege workshop on the front here for Tim. He's going to be able to build out more mangonels. He's still a little exposed in this area, but I bet he's thinking about a castle of his own. Yeah, 610 stone in the bank. Tim is really intensely on stone, almost to the point, certainly to the point where some villagers are cobbed up here. There's too many villagers on that stone right now. But Tim will go ahead and drop a castle somewhere, maybe on top of one of these hills in defense, or somewhere to keep Daut's attention. Anyway, Daut grabbing handcart as we speak. He's going to have a 4th TC now. 1, 2, 3, 4 TCs for Daut. That is going to give him a pretty big military advantage, or rather, villager advantage. Right now it is 14 vills, but also, I think more importantly, the protection that these TCs provide. Tim can't really come through this corridor with crossbows to raid because there's a TC blocking it. He can't walk through this corridor because there's a TC and a castle. You get the point. Daut's done a really good job to block off the angles. Tim's map here is really tough to defend. I mean, the fact that he had to build the TC out here just to have safe wood is a bit of a bummer. Eventually, Daut is going to find that, I would think. And that's going to be really hard to protect. You know, a couple mangonels and some crossbows on this flank would be really tough for Tim to push back. Okay, Tim's castle is going to come quite forward, and that's going to protect a gold pile for him. It's a really nice position as far as blocking a corridor, but he's not going to have the hill bonus that he could have. He's also not going to have the first trebs out. Daut here is going to be Imperial relatively soon, and Tim's castle is going to be in hot water. Daut can immediately pump out a couple of trebs if he wants to, and knock that castle down. Problem right now for Daut is that he doesn't know that this castle exists. So at least for now, Tim does have a little bit of a tactical advantage. Daut doesn't know he's there. Anyway, Elite Skirm coming for Daut. We'll power our way through the transition into the Imperial Age. These 2 guys might skirmish a little with one another, but I think that we are going to see Arbalest coming in. We're going to see Elite Skirms, and we're going to see some Trebs. Tim here, if he knows what's good for him, maybe once he sees Daut get up to the Imperial Age, I think he'll build. He's already doing it. Damn it, Tim, you're too fast. Siege workshops here are a really nice touch. If Tim's going to be to the Imperial Age second, he's going to have to defend himself against Trebs, and he knows how many archers there are on the field, so a couple of rams in the interim might help him keep that castle alive. Couple of rams from these siege workshops could be enough to stop Daut's initial couple trebs. Daut, for the moment, is not queuing up a treb. Does he know about Tim's castle? No, he doesn't know. Daut doesn't know. Don't tell Daut. Tim here is going to have an opportunity to get back in this game because Daut doesn't know that castle is kind of sitting out there in the open. Crossbows coming in from Daut. He's decided not to kill that villager who's just standing behind a house. If you can't see them, they can't see you, I suppose. Looks like Grass Daut. What are you doing, buddy? Daut here still doesn't know about this castle, but he's about to find out. Sending a couple villagers straight into the fray. Treb comes out. Double ranges on the front. Daut will start to treb this castle down. Tim, though, has had a little bit of time to get some rams going. Right now it's just 2 rams built, but 2 more on the way. Imperial Age coming in, and I think he can run in and rush this down. Right now, Daut has nothing nearby to stop rams. He can fight with villagers, but that's about it. 2 castles there from Daut in series. He's got arbs on the front. They're going to get some damage in here on Tim's villagers. The blue bird, maybe that's a good sign for Daut. That will actually not get a whole lot of damage in because of that mangonel, couple of mangonel shots. Here come those trebs. They will knock down the, those rams. They'll knock down the initial treb or 2. Looks like 1 treb for now, and maybe a mangonel. Tim is going to, at least for now, have his castle somewhat safe. It's going to give him an opportunity to get one of his own trebs out, and he can start to fight with Daut. Problem is, 2 castles here means 2 trebs can be built at once, and Tim's going to have a lot of trouble keeping up with that. Tim's got 4 more rams. We'll see if he pops those out relatively soon. Tim going forward to take stone. Oh, look at this. 2 sets of villagers just happily taking stone side by side. It's beautiful. Tim will drop another castle as well. He's trying to keep up with the arms race, the treb war, but it's so late in the game for that right now. This castle is probably not going to survive. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 trebs from Daut. There's just 6 villagers repairing right now. Not nearly enough to keep this going. Rams will come in. They might be able to get these trebs as a consolation prize, but this castle is doomed. 250 health at the moment. Castle goes down. Treb war is in Daut's favor. A couple rams will come in. They should be able to grab this treb on the front. Maybe even multiple trebs on the front. Oh boy, how did that treb survive? For now, it looks like Daut is running those trebs around. He'll lose one of them, but the others are still alive. We're seeing light cav starting to be added in from the blue player here. Tim will retreat back, and he really won't get a whole lot of a consolation prize. He'll get 1 treb for 4 or 5 rams, and he will lose his castle in the process. It's not going well for Tim. Maybe he has a trick up his sleeve. Maybe he can... man, I don't know. Maybe he can make a transition into a different type of fighting force, because right now he seems to be getting a little swamped out of this one. Sending in the arbs, but there are elite skirms, longbows, light cav here from Daut. Very diverse army, can tank a little bit of arrow fire, not spending a lot of money on his force, just these longbows for gold units for Daut. The treb war rages on. Daut's castle is in a bit of hot water. Tim, though, is going to lose one of his trebs for now. It is a full-on treb war. Looks like eventually Tim is probably going to have his treb targeted down. Sending in a few more rams, though, is Tim. He will probably get a treb here if things work out in his favor. These trebs are not going to pack in time. Tim's going to bring in 2 rams and grab another. It seems like Daut is slowly but surely winning the treb war, but Tim's rams have done a pretty good job to keep Daut honest, keeping Tim in the game. We'll kill 1 treb for now. His arbs clinging to the hill, but so many elite skirmishers and longbows down here. I just don't see Tim being able to hold this part of the map. That being said, he's not giving up just yet. Tim is going to cling to that hill and fight for just a little bit longer. Seems like it is a suicide fight, but for now he's continuing. Stable coming, light cav coming. Looks like 5 or 6 stables on the front. For the red player Tim, he's going to have 1 monk just standing beside this TC, which is interesting. But the fight in the middle is absolutely positively being won by Daut. Daut's also carved off a couple of elite skirms to come up and make sure that Tim leaves this stone pile alone. And it's looking really dire right now for Tim, who's got 130 gold in the bank. He's got tons of stone for a castle drop, but Daut at the moment, more villagers, massive military advantage, 50 military ahead. Castles are in Daut's favor by 1 at the moment, but soon to be by 2. Daut will be 2 castles ahead. Tim has no recourse to defend his own area here. All this military production is going to be under so much pressure. It's going to be hard for Tim to re-establish his military. A little bit of skirmisher raiding on the top from Daut as well, just keeping a little pressure here and there. Sending in some light cav. Tim will drop a defensive castle, but Daut here is just going to continue to run a couple of units here and there into Tim's eco to harass as much as possible. 50 military advantage for the blue player, just slowly creeping forward. He still has 3 trebs in the mix. He's got a couple light cav waiting in the wings. For now, this is looking really bad for Tim, unless these stables are totally chock full. We've got a couple light cav in some of these stables, nothing queued up in the ranges, siege workshops in defense, but I don't think those siege workshops will even get built. At the rate Tim's going, he's in a lot of trouble. His castle is getting trebbed down as we speak. There are some villagers nearby to repair. He's got stone to repair, so he can keep this fight going for a while, but it's going to be really tough. Tim will cling to the last hill here, but it's going to be a difficult proposition for him to try to win this game. Daut is going to take that gold in the middle that Tim was so happy to take earlier on. I heard players grabbing relics at one point. Daut has 2 relics, Tim has 1, so a slight gold advantage for Daut in the relic department as well. This castle is in some trouble. Tim's spending a lot of stone to try to keep it alive. For now, it will stay up, but man, it's not going to last forever. That stone is just absolutely hemorrhaging out of Tim's account. Tim sending in more rams, though. He might be able to get this treb on the front. Let's see. That ram was like 1 second away from killing the treb here from Daut. Daut with a few vills forward, keeping those trebs alive, keeping them healthy. Just continuing to put pressure on Tim. Tim on 150 stone now. He's able to keep this castle up, but look at this. 1 or 2 light cav from Daut coming in to start hacking away, hopefully at these vills. Hacking away at those vills means that the castle can't stay up. You need more villagers than 5 repairing versus 2 trebs. The castle goes down. Daut continues to creep in with more and more longbows. Has quite a few elite skirms waiting in the wings. Tim will give the GG in that game, and it was a very good game. Daut will finish with PopCap. He'll finish with a pretty decisive win. I think rail to rail he was leading in that game. He had a really good drush on Tim's berries here. Tim, maybe with a bit of a blunder, didn't run from that. He stood and fought, and one of his villagers kind of got oddly pathed, and she was unfortunately killed on the spot, never to be seen again. But that 1 villager disadvantage turned into a 2 villager disadvantage when Tim came forward to tower this wood line, and he had his villager clipped by Daut. Daut playing a good game offensively, playing a good game defensively, outboomed his opponent, just played a really solid defensive match. Tim on his side had a really tough map to work with. He did eventually TC this pocket that we thought he might TC, but difficult map to protect as far as wood lines went. And in the end, the cratered TC was a bit of a burden for him. So a really good game here in game number 1. There's 2 more games in this set that I'm going to check out. If you want to stick around for those, feel free. By now, there should be a link on the screen that you can click if you want to join in for the next game. Or if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click up here somewhere. There should be a flaming symbol. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm Killer B. Hopefully you enjoyed this game. Really nice game from Grass Daut. I will catch you next time. Much love. Bye.